Well, gotta say, that was a Transformers movie. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch on my Spring store today. So I just got back from the movies and I saw Transformers Rise of the Beast. And, I went to an Epic Theaters and they had, I know that they were also doing so at some AMC theaters, is that they were doing the movie early and they were giving away these posters as well as these patches, which is kind of cool. And how am I gonna really give you guys my opinion? It's a tough one because I went in with such low expectations. And you guys already know I don't really care for Michael Bay's Transformers. I am not a fan of those films. I enjoyed, the first movie, I think the first and the third movie of that series are the best of the bunch. And I think Bumblebee is a cut above, personally as a film. And this one, I think, I don't know if I want to say if it's above, if Rise of the Beasts is above, Bumblebee, or if it's kind of at the same level, because it raises the stakes. It has more action. It has a lot more to give. And by the way, this is not going to be a spoiler review, because I'm going to maybe I might do a live stream or maybe a spoiler talk, soon enough, because these big budget blockbuster movies, there's a lot to talk about, right? Especially when it comes down to the Transformers. And I already went in with an expectation to be disappointed. And then I think probably what I'll say is probably made my enjoyment of the movie a little bit more. I was expecting a certain character not to be treated very well, and that met that expectation, right? I was expecting a big spectacle, and yes, the movie has a big spectacle. They're after a MacGuffin. All of the Transformers movies seem to have this MacGuffin that they're after, and they're racing towards to get it. But this time around, I think that they really captured the Transformers as characters. As much as they could, considering how big the cast was, and what do I mean by that is that you have the Maximals, you have the Autobots, and you have the Terracons as well as the humans. And what I really enjoyed the way that they handled the humans this time around is that there's only really two. You have one character who's got a family, and then you have another character, and those two humans, they're the ones who are end up being connected to the Transformers. It's not to a point where you feel like it's over the top or like they're the stars of the movie. No, in reality, they actually did a really good job of actually making you care about the Autobots. And my wife, I was with my wife, and she didn't care for Mirage, but I actually liked his character. I thought his character was decent. I mean, they do allude to a certain, a callback reference to the history on that character. And they also do something with him that it's not something that I like that happens within the live action Transformers movies, that from an old school fan's perspective, is like, you can transform into a car. That's until you get altered, how else are you going to transform? That's a whole nother discussion. But anyway, there's, the villain, Scourge is the main villain, and it's not really a spoiler there because, a lot of Transformers fans already know this. He's a great villain. Has, his two lackeys that follow him, and they're his lackeys. You have Optimus Prime, and he is, he has an arc in his storyline that he goes from one place to another, and you get to see that, as you get introduced to him, it's kind of like a, what do you mean you're kind of changing the character? But no, they make him, Optimus Prime by the end of it. And I was pretty pleased about it. The Maximals themselves, I'll probably say this much. Optimus Primal and Air Razor are the two characters that actually get the amount of screen time that they deserve. Whereas the other Maximals are along for the ride. And in a way, I almost feel the same way about RC and not Wheeljack. in a lot of ways, like that's the thing about the way that these Transformers movies have to go, is because they have to move the plot along. That is also something I have to point out is that this Transformers movie did a really good job of balancing the action with the storyline and the storytelling, and it also kept it very tight knit. To my understanding, they were trying to cut the movie down as much as they could so that it was a coherent storyline and it didn't feel like a bloated Michael Bay mess. Remember, Transformers Age of Extinction was 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and it felt like 2 hours and 45 minutes. This movie felt like it was 2 hours, and I think it was 2 hours and 15 minutes, I believe, but that's with the credits. So it was really cut tight, and it felt like, a good, close movie in that respect. The action in this movie is really well done a lot of the time. There are some scenes where I'm like, I kind of feel, it kind of feels like we're going back to that Michael Bayhem in a way. But in other ways, like they actually, some of the shots were great, were awesome. Some of the special effects actually were really cool. I did not care for, the final battle at the end of the movie was really cool in a way. But in other ways, it felt like, I don't know, there was something that was, there's something that was just missing. And I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, what it was, in it. But at the same time, I understand they were focused on certain points in the storyline, and they were moving it along very well at a breakneck pace. And they did a good job of it. By the end of the movie, I came out, I was like, I enjoyed it. But when I said at the beginning, when I said this movie is a Transformers movie, is again, they're after a MacGuffin. All of these Transformers movies have that. And yeah, all of that big spectacle, all of that big action, that's exactly what you came in expecting. And it's a good thing. As far as the characters are concerned, I want to say this again, is that they actually did a good job of making the Transformers that were the main plot points of the story. They did a good job of making you care about them as the story progressed. By the end of it, I mean, it's like, you're going to expect to see a lot of cool action out of all these characters. And like I said, I'm not trying to spoil anything. I'm really trying to give you guys my honest thoughts, because it's hard, right? Because you just want to talk about like this Easter egg that you saw and this Easter egg that you saw, and which when you see this, that in and of itself, like they actually have something along with Till All Are One. And that's not really a spoiler, because they make sure that they incorporated that. They also had some of the other Easter eggs that you expect to see, and you're like, yes, that's good. I did want to hear certain characters say that, But again, some of the Transformers do feel like they were just there because they needed to make sure the cast was full for the storyline. Something? This movie is definitely, in my opinion, better than the Michael Bay Transformers movies. It's probably on par with the Bumblebee movie for me. There are certain things that it would have been a cut above had they done certain things that I was expecting, or at least I was hoping for, and that kind of like pulled it down for me. I did enjoy the fact that the way they handled New York, and had, there was a lot of heart and story to the characters. You almost feel like there's how can I put it? You almost feel like you know exactly what these characters are going through. You can relate to them no matter who you are. And that was a good thing. Even if they're doing something stupid, even if they're doing something dumb, you're like, you really shouldn't be doing it. But you know what? They ended up getting caught up into the world of the Transformers. And that's what led them into this adventure. And that is not a bad thing. So at the end of the day, do I say, see it? Yeah. I might need to see it again, because again, this is my first impression of the movie. Like it is currently right now, like I'm 2 hours removed from seeing it. And so I'm still gathering my thoughts. I might need to go, I do probably got to say, like, it's really hard to, like, not spoil this movie on you guys, because, you know, I think I enjoyed a lot of the action sequences. I enjoyed the fact that they really put a focus on the Transformers where they needed to be. I like the way that they had Optimus Prime grow as a character. And I know it was awesome seeing the Beast Wars characters on screen. So, you know, did I get what I expected? Sure. Did I get it in both good and in bad? And so at the end of the day, I want to know what you guys think. Have you guys seen Transformers Rise of the Beast? And do you think it's a great movie, or do you think it's an all right movie, or do you think it's a terrible movie? Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers news, retrospectives, and more coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for all that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.